Grain and livestock markets closed mostly lower Wednesday. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Corryn with this closing market wrap-up. Grain and oilseed futures closed lower alongside a sharp break in crude oil as markets reacted to growing optimism that tensions between the U.S. and Iran could ease. Corn and soybean futures were pressured by favorable crop conditions, improving weather forecasts, and a lack of fresh export demand news. Wheat futures briefly tested overnight highs shortly after the opening bell before reversing lower under pressure from weakness in the broader grain complex and energy markets. Energy markets weighed heavily on commodities overall, with crude oil falling nearly $5 per barrel after President Trump said the U.S. and Iran are in the final stages of peace negotiations. Uncertainty over Chinese demand pressured grain markets after China confirmed tariff reductions on ag trade, but made no mention of the White House claim that it would purchase $17 billion annually in U.S. ag products, prompting speculative selling after Monday's rally. Livestock futures were mostly lower, with only nearby May feeder cattle futures managing to finish in positive territory. Lean hog futures remained under pressure from disappointing cash trade as hog supplies continue to adequately meet packer demands. Live cattle futures weakened amid uncertainty surrounding this week's cash cattle trade and ahead of Friday's USDA cattle on feed report, which is expected to show large April feedlot placements. Feeder cattle futures also face pressure from weaker live cattle trade and technically driven selling. Now, taking a look at closing numbers, we've got July corn down 9.5 at $4.65 3/4. July soybeans down 9 3/4 at $11.99 3/4. July wheat down 6 3/4 at $6.60 1/2. July Kansas City wheat down 5 at $6.98 3/4. July Minneapolis wheat down 2 cents at $6.94. Now, moving over to the livestock complex, we've got June live cattle down $1.27 at $253.27. May feeder cattle up $1.15 at $370.72. And June hogs down 65 at $97.27. Thanks for joining me for this closing market wrap-up. I'm Corryn with the American Ag Network.